this where you're gonna decide to sit? Is this where you're gonna decide to sit? Oh, yep, we're gonna go right here.
I need to get my coffee.
Can you get my coffee?
My name is Tamara Anthony if you're new here. If not, welcome back to my channel. It has been so long and so much has happened in my life. I have a lot of explaining to do. I completely understand and we're gonna get through everything today. I've already recorded a vlog that I'm gonna get up in the next couple of days, but I just figured before we jump back into vlogs, I really need to fill you in. Obviously, this is a new apartment, so I've had to move. I've had some health changes, relationship changes. Before I start, I do want to say thank you guys so much for allowing me the time to just go back and process everything that has happened in my life. I think a big part of the reason why I stepped back from YouTube and kind of social media in general and just sharing what was going on in my life is because I didn't understand what was going on in my life and I didn't want to put out a bunch of false information or information that was genuinely changing every single week for me. I just really needed to process it for my own before I brought it out to the public. So thank you for giving me the time to do that. I still honestly don't know what the hell is going on, but I'm gonna try to explain it to the best of my ability. I'm not gonna make you guys wait, so let's just jump into the mold story. The moldy girl, the moldy apartment. So I moved into that apartment about 5-6 months ago. I don't know, I don't really have a great perception of time, but about half a year ago I moved into that last apartment. Over the span of that time, while living there, I started experiencing a few symptoms, but I had no idea what mold was. I had no idea what symptoms to look for, how common it was. And I think for a long time, since I just moved to LA, I was making all these new friends, I was going to these new events, I was doing all this new stuff. I was very distracted how I genuinely felt. So the fatigue, those smaller symptoms, I think I just overlooked because I had so much going on. My first symptom was this skin rash, almost like psoriasis. It started going all over my body. Really confusing, really freaked me out. I've never not understood what was going on with my body. I found out my mom had psoriasis and eczema when she was about my age, so I was like, oh, this is a genetic thing, it's coming out, it's her time to shine. So I went to the doctor, I was put on a steroid, the antibiotic, whatever. It went away for about a week and then came back. Now at this point, I also started experiencing some coughs. I had this continuous cough. It was my only sick symptom. So I was like, okay, I don't feel like I have a cold, but why am I coughing so nonstop? And then in my day-to-day life, I kept having random people come up to me, not really random, but I kept having people share their stories that they've just experienced with mold and how they had to move apartments, and I'm having multiple stories, I'm having these symptoms, and I'm like, okay, everything happens for a reason. Clearly I'm getting all of the signals right now. Ended up getting my own apartment tested for mold and they found black mold almost in every room, which is super fantastic. When he told me and he showed me the mold, after everything that I experienced the past few months of just feeling sick and being so confused, that day was interesting because I was so upset about visibly seeing what I was putting my body through. Like visibly seeing it, I think was just like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, that's real, and that was what I was putting my body through. But I was also at the same time relieved to know, okay, this is it. Now I have something to chase. Now I have something to focus on. I knew what it was, and so on that side of things, it was reassuring and calming, but at the same time, just really frustrating that I was even put through that in the first place. So once I got this information, obviously I wanted to get out of the apartment as fast as possible. I stayed in some hotels with Stella, which was such a cute experience. Then I ended up just going to Orange County and staying with my family because August last month, it's September this month, August was a huge traveling month, and it was kind of crazy how everything ended up working out and just aligning itself. I always had August as my travel month for months now. I knew I was gonna go to Europe, I knew I was gonna go to Bali, I knew I was just gonna be out of here for a whole month. And so it was kind of crazy that it aligned with the time that I needed to get out of my apartment. Didn't want to stress myself out too much. I knew I had these trips coming up. I didn't want to start thinking about a new apartment and that whole moving situation, so I just let my apartment kind of deal with it while I was like, okay, bye, I'm gonna go travel. And I had 1 week in between these two trips to be home, so I thought to myself, okay, that's gonna be your week that you're gonna look for apartments, you're gonna find one, and that's exactly what happened. I got a lot of questions about my travel, why. I didn't travel a lot when I was younger with my family, just because of finances. We just never went on big family trips. We went on like some road trips, but nothing where I was in a plane. I never left the country until after high school. I just never traveled or saw the world when I was younger. And so it's always been a deep craving of mine to get out there and see everything. And now I'm in a situation where I can do that for myself. So I want to go to Europe, and two of my best friends right now are actually backpacking through Europe. So that matched up perfectly. Another group of my friends wanted to go to Greece a little bit afterwards. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to Europe, hang out with two of my friends, go to Greece, which I've always have wanted to go to Greece ever since I was a little girl. My parents used to have these two paintings in our house that they got from Greece, and I remember I'd always just stare at them and just dream about being there, even though I didn't really understand where it was from. I met up with my friends in Europe for a week. We went to Paris, Belgium, and then I flew to Greece and hung out with my friends. Mykonos for 5-ish days, and then we went to Naxos for a couple days. Such a beautiful vacation. I was crying on the ferry home, I'm not even kidding. Then for a little under a week, I was at my mom's house back in Orange County, just taking advantage of that time, being with family. Super close to my dad too, so I got to see him a couple times. During this time, I decided to start looking for apartments, so I drove up to LA a couple days, and I had a day of just searching out apartments. This was one of the apartments. I walked through, I just really liked it. I like there's just little details here that I really appreciate. Like this window above my bed, I really like that window above my bed. I signed this lease, left for Bali for a week, which was a retreat by Motion LA, which is ran by a few of my good friends. Went to Bali, the best place in the whole wide world. I'm telling you all right now, there's a good possibility that I move to Bali for 6 months or more in the future. Then I came home, and I was home for maybe 24 hours, and then I left for a quick trip to Joshua Tree in the desert, and then I came back home, and I was home for a day, and then I moved. So that was my big moving day. I'm telling you, it was non-stop all of August, but it was so much fun. Everything was so exciting. August really pushed me out of my comfort zone for a lot of reasons. I spent about 95% of my time alone, and August I was not alone once. Even in between my trips, I was staying at my mom's house, and as much as you want privacy there, there's just not a lot of privacy there. I got a new definition of home. I realized that home truly is within myself. It's also the community that you can create wherever you go. In LA, I have a community, that's why it feels home. On these trips, I'd build community with whoever I was with, and then I'd feel like I had a piece of home with me. But here we are. It's been almost 2 weeks since all of that has happened, and I feel like I'm starting to feel like this place is at home. Everything's unpacked, slowly getting a little bit things together here and there, but for the most part, she's coming together. I got a lot of questions about a house tour, so just give me a couple weeks. I swear I will get to it. Now we're back on planet Earth. I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things. It means that I'm having to focus on life again, focus on my health again, which leads us into our next question, which is what is going on with my current health and my current health journey, all of the blood tests, everything that I keep posting about online. I was dealing with it on my trips. I was actually having a really hard time with it on my trips. I had a few breakdowns where it felt like everything I ate, everything I did made it worse. Everything that I would try to do to make it better wouldn't change a single thing, and I really felt defeated at multiple points during this process. So it's been tough on me mentally, but I think when it comes to health, I'm a very optimistic person, so I haven't let myself get too low about it. If I do have those moments of feeling defeated, I cry it out, I express it, and then I get back up and moving, because I know that's not going to get me anywhere. If anything, it might actually hurt me even more. But I mentioned it earlier, I started developing this skin rash. It's like dry patches, all these spots. You can see some on my arm right now. I don't know if you can. Basically where we're at right now, what the doctors believe is happening, I'm talking to multiple people right now, just getting a lot of different opinions and information. What the doctor believes has happened is the mold poisoning toxicity triggered an autoimmune response in my body, which is psoriasis. So now I'm dealing with psoriasis. Hi. All my mold symptoms like coughing, the fatigue, those types of things, everything went away, but now I just have this psoriasis that's all over my body, mainly in the areas that don't see the sun as often. So when I was in Greece, being in the ocean and the sun helped clear it up so much. It was heavenly. Now I'm kind of just in this journey of trying to better understand my body and heal my body, and understand that it's been through a lot of different types of trauma and stresses in the past few months, and I need to give her grace in that, and I need to give her time to heal herself, and I'm just going to support her in every way that I possibly can. I just really am so relieved to have answers and guidance in this process now, because I think one of the most overwhelming times was when I didn't know what was going on. All these new symptoms kept arising in my body, and it was quite honestly just terrifying because I felt so out of touch with myself. It's definitely not an overnight process that goes away. It's going to be something that I'm going to be dealing with for a while, and it's going to be okay. Okay, what's next? Okay. Am I in a relationship? No, I am no longer in a relationship. I haven't been in a relationship for the past few months now. You will never see me speak negatively about a relationship. I think everything happens for a reason. Everything comes with its lessons. I have nothing but love for the people that I've been in relationships with, and I wish them nothing but the best. It's so important to realize that we evolve, and sometimes we don't evolve together, and that's okay. I've been living alone for the past few months again. I've been pouring so much love into myself, reconnecting with old habits. When it comes to Leo Bubba's, he's still living with Chase, his dad. He's always lived with Chase. Even when we were in San Diego, he stayed at Chase's apartment. I am not in a relationship, haven't been in a relationship for a while. Stella girl's so happy, Leo boy's so happy, and we're all just moving on with life. Going off that, I had so many questions just asking about breakup advice in general. I guess here's some things that I would say when going through a breakup. And I've been through a couple breakups now, and I just have noticed these traits in me. And also just growing up, dealing with different friendship situations or family situations or romantic relationships, I have the ability to detach pretty easily, and it's a blessing and a curse. I can detach from really emotional situations and kind of step back. I can take things a little bit more logically than emotionally. I think that there's a lot of strengths in that. The only times where I've ran into problems with being able to detach so easily is if I don't fully work through those emotions in that moment and just try to bury things under the rug and move on with the rest of my life. That's what's gotten up to me, and I've had to eventually deal with those things. But I think when it comes to relationships, once I get to that point where I truly feel that way and I'm ready to make that decision, I feel it with every cell of my body, and I know what's best for me and the other person, and I think that makes it easier for me to walk away. And I know for a lot of people that's just not easy to do. So once you go through the breakup and you're now single, you've had the terrible conversation, what do you do now? You have so much time, you have all this stuff. You just pour it all into yourself, baby. Pour all of that love into yourself, all of those old habits you used to practice, all of those little things that used to make you so happy that I'm not blaming that person for cutting them out of your life, but you've just slowly drifted away from them. Start to experience them again. What are you doing? And self-love isn't just doing the fun stuff and taking baths and doing all the pretty things. Self-love is also discipline. Get back into your morning routines. Hold yourself accountable more. If you've fallen off track with eating intuitively, eating whole quality foods, maybe focus your time into that. Just get yourself back on track by pouring love into yourself. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned in this breakup is that friendships can almost give you more love than romantic relationships. It's when you meet that bond with your friends and you could call them, you could tell them anything, no matter what state you're in, no matter what you're going through, and you just have that connection. It's just so beautiful. It's so comforting. And when you find the right people, you're guided in such a beautiful direction. And that's what's really happened to me this time. I had a couple friendships out here, but over the past couple of months, I've poured so much energy into creating more friendships and deepening the ones that I've already had, and it's such a beautiful feeling. Of course you want to vet, of course you want to get everything out of your system, but just be careful with your words and how you're talking to yourself and how you're talking about the relationship. There's obviously certain situations to everything, but when you just bash a relationship that you've been in, you're bashing yourself for making that choice or being with that person, or bashing that person, only seeing the negativity in the entire relationship when looking back can be so damaging to yourself, because that relationship, it was a part of you. It was a big part of your life. It was big decisions you made to be in that relationship. To bash and speak negatively on the topic is basically like bashing and speaking negatively on yourself. It's a choice that you made. Maybe it wasn't the right one, or it didn't turn out to be the right one, but just take the information, the lessons that you got from it, and move on. Try not to hold so much anger and resentment with it, because it only affects you, not the other person. I had to just address all of that because that was, I can't even tell you what my DMs look like or have been looking like. And I get it, and I understand. I've shared so much of my life on social media. I brought you into so much of my relationship. Next question is how my relationship is with myself. I feel so good, honestly. I mean, obviously I have this skin stuff that I need to overcome and still figure out. I feel so fulfilled. I feel like I'm getting my self-discipline back. I'm getting my routines back. I'm nourishing my body in such good ways again. And I'm starting to feel so motivated again. Like I can see my future. I'm working towards future goals and I can see my potential. It just feels great. I feel the most in touch with myself that I have in a really long time. All these little things that I used to do years ago are starting to come back in. Meditation is becoming a part of my daily practice again. Reading, I have such a craving to read now, and I think it's because I've focused so much on myself and what truly makes me, myself, and I happy. And we're doing great. Oh, I totally forgot to answer this earlier, but people were asking about Stella during my travel stays. Please, please don't ever worry about sweet Stella girl. She is always in the best hands ever. My, first of all, mom never wants to give her back. My mom is obsessed with Stella. That is her granddaughter. Every time we go over, Stella has a new toy. My mother is so in love with Stella. And then also, Stella has some godparents, Shark and Amelia. They're two of my good friends. They also love Stella. Whenever I ask them to watch them, it's like a yes, please. Next question is, what's it like raising a dog? It is totally like having a little child. Less attention necessary, but so much attention needed. I would not recommend it to anybody that isn't at home almost all of the time, especially if you're getting a puppy. I think that if you want to raise your own dog and you want it to be a puppy, it's so important to make sure that you have all of the time to spend at home. Otherwise, they're going to grow up with not so great habits, which is just going to make your life harder with the dog, their life more difficult and stressful. They're simple creatures. They love you, their home, their food, and they need those things to be consistent. So if you can't give that to them consistently, I would not recommend it. But Stella's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm very grateful. I have such a village and community around me to help me whenever I do decide to leave the planet. I got some questions asking about why I decided to move to LA, what's in LA. I mean, I do social media, online training, work with a lot of brands that are located in LA. A lot of the people that I work with or do what I do are also in LA. I love San Diego and I'm probably going to be back for it, but I was surrounded by all my really good friends who work 9 to 5. So I would have the whole week to be by myself, and then it'd be the weekend and they'd want to go out, and I just felt like I was in this weird routine cycle that wasn't true to myself. And moving to LA, now I have people that I can be with throughout the week. It's way less isolating. And I also have people around me that do what I do, so my conversations, I just feel way more understood. And when I work with a brand or go to an event, I'm 20 minutes away rather than being 3 hours away. So I knew LA was just a place that I wanted to go to. I wanted to experience, see how it felt and what it would be like for me, what it could offer. And that's what I did. It's been great. Definitely don't want to stay here forever. I think max is like 2 years for me. It's great, but it's a place where I honestly feel like I need a vacation from LA. You can get so swept up in events and things and plans, and you're going nonstop, and you just need to take a break away. For like going to Orange County occasionally is just so nice. I don't know, it's fun. I'm enjoying meeting people. I'm enjoying the locations. The food is so good. And so I'm just having a good time while we're here, but I'm not going to be here forever. Next question is my ideal morning routine. I have gotten this so dialed in the past couple weeks. It feels so good. So I'm a 5:30 a.m.er now. 5:30, 6:30, around that time. I love that it's still dark outside. I love that people aren't awake yet. This is just my time, and I'm intentionally waking up earlier just so I create this time for myself before the day begins. My day usually starts around 8:30 or so. It makes me feel so much better, so much more intentional, so much more energized. So I wake up at 5:36, head to my kitchen, take all my vitamins, chug a bunch of water, come back, and I'll go into a 15-20 minute vinyasa flow. Nothing too intense. I'm not putting a lot of stress on my body. It's really just to move everything, stretch everything out, work on my breath, just get everything moving and grooving. I really like doing my yoga before meditation because I think the yoga makes me drop into my body, makes me focus on my breath, gets everything awake and alert but still calm and focused. And then immediately after that, I'll go into a 15-minute meditation. Most of them have been guided recently. I'll do Joe Dispenza, he has a good 15-minute one, or I'll just go on Alamoves and have a guided meditation from there. But I love doing meditation afterwards because it's so much easier to drop into myself. And then the sun's coming out, so I take Stella and we head out for a little walk, usually about a mile and a half or so. Come back, I'll have my coffee then. So at this point, it's been about an hour or so since I've been awake. I waited a good amount of time, then I add the caffeine into my body. I'll make breakfast, get ready, and go about my day. But just creating that moment to really tune into myself, really see how I'm feeling, walk it out before the world is trying to contact me, it feels so great. And I really recommend finding a morning routine that caters to you and your needs, because I used to sit there and think like, okay, wake up and journal, but then I realized I need to wake up and move my body. My body's craving some type of movement right when I wake up, and people are so different when it comes to that. So right now, yoga into meditation into a walk is what my body's loving, and I'm sure it will change like it always does. What is my current workout split and what do I feel best doing? My workout split is always changing, but I feel like on average I'm spending about 4 days in the gym. I've been picking up Pilates again, so I'll do about 2 days of Pilates throughout the week. When it comes to walking, me and Stella do that 1 to 1.5 mile walk every single morning, and then we also go for another walk in the evening. I've been getting at least 10,000 steps every single day. That's also a reason why I love this new apartment, the location. I'm able to walk to grocery stores, to restaurants, everywhere, and I wasn't really able to do that in my last apartment. So yeah, over 10,000 steps, gym 4 to 5 days a week. I do some Pilates, I'm doing my yoga in the morning. I'm just going with whatever is feeling good. If I'm in the gym, I'm following my gym guide. I always follow my gym guide. I'll pick a day that I want to do and I'll do that. How am I feeling mentally? You guys have seen me go through so many mental phases. You guys have seen me at my lowest, you've seen me at my highest, and right now I feel really good. Super clear, I feel really happy. I'm not on any medication. I'm taking care of my body, focused on what I want to do, and I haven't felt like that in a really long time, so. Thanks for asking. I'm feeling fantabulous. Going off that, I got asked, you're always so positive, are you ever low? Yes. So I have realized over the past couple years, I have a very short battery. I am high energy. I'm all over the place. I'm like a bouncy ball in a bouncy room when you first see me. I'm woo, but it doesn't last long. After a few hours of being social, I need to go in my bedroom, close all the doors, not talk to anybody, and just be by myself. I love being alone. I love being with people in those high energy environments, but I can only do it for so long, and I need to be by myself. Be so honest with yourself in that alone time and cater to yourself. Definitely have my low days, especially with this health stuff. I told you I've had days where I feel extremely defeated and like, what is the purpose of trying to be healthy and doing all these things? I just want to give up. But I know everything's happening as it should. I let myself feel those emotions, I express it, and then I move on. I don't try to swallow it, pretend I'm okay, and keep walking, because like I said earlier, everything will come out eventually. What are 3 most effective changes in my wellness routine? I would say 1, waking up way earlier. Waking up at 5:30 to 6. It was very hard the first week, but now that it's way easier, I'm so happy I've created that time to have to myself. It's so worth it. First 5 minutes of getting up is the hardest part, and then I'll wake up and I'll go brush my teeth or turn a bathroom light on and really get myself up. Second thing would be starting my day with the meditation and the movement, just being really in tune with my body, shaking everything out, getting really intentional before going into my day, I think has a really big influence on how my day unfolds. And last thing I'd say, my focus for what I'm consuming now. I've been listening to way more podcasts lately and reading way more books. It makes my mind think when I'm not listening to it. Oh, hi. Last question, because I feel like we've caught up on a lot. If you had advice for your younger self starting social media, what would you tell her? To not get distracted with brand deals and prices that could be thrown at you. I know that the money can be exciting and new, but stay true to yourself, because I think that's just, there's a lot of karma involved in that. Oh, don't watch so much of what you produce. This has been huge for me. Even now, I still go by this. If you are somebody that makes a bunch of workout videos, days in the life, eating, so do you and so many other people. Like, let's just be so honest. So many people make those type of videos. So if you're filming that, you're editing that, you're posting that, and then after you do all that, you're just sitting and watching all these videos of doing the exact same thing. 1, you're gonna judge yourself. That's just human nature. You're gonna judge your work to other work, and maybe that leads you in a motivated place, but a lot of people that kind of leaves you in a shitty mentality. So I don't really recommend it for that reason. I think absorbing some of it is good, just to understand like what the theme is, where everybody's at, any new ideas that can come from it. When you consume too much of it, you kind of slowly evolve into becoming everybody else. You'll subconsciously just start copying other people, how they do things. You're recycling the same work over and over again. I love making my videos, and I'll get really excited, and when I do that, I don't get as excited when I post about it. I think it's a really good idea to absorb other type of content or other type of videos or movies, and you'd be surprised what you actually get inspired by. Okay, cowboys. Woo! We're back in the game. I promise not to abandon you like that for a while. hopefully. I love you so much. I hope you're making today your bitch. I'll see you guys next time.
We're back. We're back